Hello everyone. This is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is why we need to use lit function under this array element. So here we have array and inside that we are using list comprehension. And if you see here in list comprehension, so I written for loop to iterate this variable, and this variable is this one, this list of elements. So this list of elements I want to iterate, and instead of x I given array. So on top of that I have array. So why a given array is, so this list of elements I want to pass in data frame. So I want to add one new column, and I want to pass this array of elements. So this will see why we need to use lit here. So the elements of fixed values cached. So that means this list of elements are simple Python integers. And to use them in Spark expressions like array, they must be converted to PySpark column compatible literals. See, this is list of elements. So that means Python list. So this we cannot directly pass into PySpark data frame. So this one we need to convert from Python list of elements into PySpark compatible column types. Okay, so why we need to convert is, so we used array. So array is expecting so elements. Okay, so not list of elements. So without lit, Spark would not recognize the elements as valid column expressions, and the code would throw an error. So we'll see one by one. So why we need to use lit here. So first what I'm doing, without lit, I'm using here. So x for x in these elements. So what it does is it will iterate each and element within this list. So if you see here, we are getting list of elements as the output. So next what I'm trying, instead of x, I'm using lit here. So if I use lit, what I'm getting here, see here, column of 10, column of 13, column of 15. So that means instead of list of elements, I'm getting column objects. Okay, so that is the difference with using lit and without using lit. And if you see here, this explanation, this is one PySpark column object for the literal value 10. And this second one is literal value for 13. So for each and element, it created one column object here. So next we'll see explanation about this code. So here fixed values underscore cached. So this is a Python list containing predefined numeric values. So that is this one. So in this fixed underscore value is this one, this list of elements. Next we'll see what is this lit x. So the lit function in PySpark creates a column object representing a literal value constant. So that means lit function normally adds one column to our data frame with constant value. So for each element x, so for each element x in the fixed value underscore cast list, lit x converts it into PySpark literal column. So without lit, what it giving? It giving list of elements. By using lit, what it doing is it converting to PySpark literal column. So next, lit x converts each element x from the Python list into a Spark column type. So which is necessary for the array function to create new array column within the data frame. So that means since you are using array here, so array expects a list of elements. Okay, so if you don't use lit, it will give only list of elements. But here array expects column objects. So that's why we're using lit here. So next, what is this list comprehension? So list comprehension, this whole thing iterates over every value x in this variable and applies the lit function on it. So what it gives is it will generate PySpark object with respect to this particular variable. So here one more simple example why we need to use lit. So suppose you want to add one new column named source with the value manual to every row of your data frame. Then what you will do in normally in PySpark, you'll use like this df.withColumn and my new column name is source. And if I want one common value manual throughout the column, then we'll use lit manual. So if you try with df dot with column source and directly if you give manual, what it give is it will result in error because manual is a Python string, not PySpark column. So this is with lit and this is without lit. So here now you understand why we need to use lit, because if you give directly string, it won't accept, it will throw error because this is a Python string, not a PySpark column. So while list comprehension themselves are a Python construct for creating list, their integration with PySpark. So what this lit does is it will bridge the gap between Python literals and PySpark column-based operations. So lit is a bridge between Python and PySpark. So next what I'm doing, so here I'm converting this particular variable, this is Python list, into PySpark array column, where each element is wrapped as a literal. So that means here I'm using array and this is lit x and for x in this variable. So since I'm using array, we are getting array of these elements. Okay, so similar way, here what I'm doing array and I'm giving star. Star it is given to unpack the elements. So we are getting array of elements. So why we use array for list comprehension? So why we need to use is it will generate list of PySpark literal column objects. Okay, so next we'll see one example. So why we need to use here star. So before lit, why we need to use star. Suppose I have one list of elements and here in df1, what I'm doing is without unpacking. So df dot with column, that this is my new column name, and here I'm using same syntax code here, array of this list comprehension without star. And here what I'm doing with star. So if I try to display, see for looking PySpark it generating same list of elements, but actually PySpark it giving both flatten it and giving here. But reality will be like this. So if you don't use a star, it will generate output as like this. That means nested array. So if you use a star, it will generate this one. So list of elements. So that is the difference between star and without star. And you can use explain method to see the how to see the plan. So how it will uh, generate the code. So next what I'm doing, I created one data frame here. So these are my data and these are all my columns. So here I created one sample data frame and on top of that, what I'm doing, so I'm creating one new column fixed underscore value and whatever we discussed here array. So that I am giving here. And similar way, I am giving with star also. So here, this is my fixed value, that is this one. And this is fixed value unpack, that is this one. So what it does is lit X, it will generate list of elements. So that it will convert to array. So since we used lit, it will convert lit of elements. So that I will explain below how it will convert. So finally what we are getting, array of elements. If you see here, this is array. See here, array and array of elements indexing starting with 0, 1, 2, 3. And a similar way, here also this one. So star is with unpack. Okay, so here also you are getting array of elements. Next, what I'm doing, so on top of this array list comprehension, I am giving index 0. So that means instead of adding all the elements, all the array of elements, I want to add only first element from this array. So for that, I'm using index method. I'm giving 0. Since I used 0, so in this, what is the first element? That is all first only is there. 10. First element is 10. So that 10, it will add here in all the rows. Suppose if you change this index to 1, so here, what is our first index? 13. So it will print here all 13 values. Next, what I'm trying is, I'm trying to filter the rows. So this is my list of elements and a fixed value. So this we already saw. So this one, it will add this column with this array of elements. So on top of that, what I'm doing is, I'm using filter and I'm using array contains, and up to here, this is same. So what it gives is, it will add this whole thing, this array of elements, it will add. So this output is array of this one, this array of elements. Since I used array contains, what it does is, so in this we have this many elements. Array contains, what it does is, it will check with first element and with this column age column. See here, this 25 is in this array of elements. So since 25 is there, so it printing here. Next, this 35. So we have two 35s. So this 35 we have in this array of elements. See here. So that's why it printed here. Next, 40, 45. So 40, 45 also we have in this array of elements. But remaining, if you see remaining elements, suppose if you see 29, 29, 31, 33. See here, we don't have 29, 31, 33. So those elements, it is filtered out. Those edge rows, it got filtered out. Similar way, you can see 29, 39. See here, we don't have any 29, 39. So it filtered out. So if you want more information about array underscore contains and array, how to use these functions. So I already made a video in my PySpark playlist. It is there. So you can watch that video to get more functionality of this one. So here, this is an explanation I written here. So what it does is, array needs multiple column expressions, not single list of them. So whatever star it is there, this operator called unpacking in Python. So that is this one, this star, that is unpacking in Python. What it does is, it unpacks the list into individual arguments. So here I given a difference without using star and with using star. So suppose if I'm not using star here, suppose I'm using like this. If my code is like this, then what it meaning is, So what it meaning is, see, earlier we have list of elements, no, this one. So after applying lit, it converting like this: lit of 10, lit of 13, 15, and so on up to 45. But as with single list of lits. But this array, this array, it won't accept. So that means it is not valid format, not valid PySpark array function. So what it expects is it passes a single list with one argument. See here, this whole thing, this list of lit elements, that whole thing is one argument with single list, and we are passing to array. So this is which is not valid for PySpark's array function. So what it expects is it expects multiple column arguments, not a list of not a list of columns. So if I use a star like this, if I use a star like this, so what it does is it will do unpack. So this unpacks the list. So what it gives is, see here, now here we don't have list here. So we have only elements. See here, lit of 10, lit of 13, lit of 15, and so on. So now we have array of columns. Okay, so now this satisfies the condition, and it will run this array function. See, array star lit creates a literal array column from your list. Okay, so this is the difference between using star and with star, and how it does filter is like this. So first it will run this, then it will convert to array, then finally it will filter out. Next, what we'll do is how to use when or case statement. So here I'm using with column. This is my column name. And here I'm using when function. So when function I'm applying here. So what it does is call of age. So this particular column I'm checking is in by using is in function. I'm checking in this list of elements. Okay, so since I given star, it will consider for all the elements. So that means each element of this age column. Suppose here we have first element is 25. This 25 will check whether it is in this list of elements. If it is there, it will print true. It will print true. Otherwise, it will print false. So what is our list of elements? So first I will copy here our list of elements. Yeah. So what I have first element is 25. In age column, I have 25. And this 25, I will check this entire list. So 25, it is there. So it will print true. Next, we have 29. So this 29, it will check all the elements of this list. But we don't have 29, so it will print false. So similar way 31. So we don't have 31, it will print false. Next we have 33. So 33 also we don't have, it will print false. So parallelly we'll check other elements. So we have 30, 35, 55. So if you see here, we have 35, 55 not there, 35 is there. So 35 is true, 55 is false. So similar way, 35. So we already checked that is true. And 29, 39, we don't have in this list. See here, we don't have in this list. So it will print these two elements, it will print false. Next 40 and 45 we have in this list. So it will print as true. Okay, so we discussed about why we need to use lit function within list comprehension. So mainly when adding column to existing data frame. So that's all about this video. So if you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.